I welcome you all to this module 6, on the topic call for service. Deborah led the Israelites to service, to freedom. In the last module 5, we talked about Moses, the circumstances that led to the birth of Moses, and how Moses' mother hid him for 3 months and placed him at the river bank where Pharaoh's daughter can see him. Also, we talked about how Moses was called by God when he was in Midian to go back to Egypt and lead his people out from Egypt. Despite that, God had hardened the heart of Pharaoh in order to bring punishment and to condemn the land of Egypt. Freedom. I want to refresh our memory on the meaning of freedom, which is the right to do what you want without being constrained or restricted by anyone. And there are types of freedom. We talked about political freedom, talked about economic freedom, religious freedom, personal freedom, and social freedom. I believe at the end of this lesson, you'll be able to know who Deborah is, the circumstances that led to the war against Jabin, and how Deborah led the Israelites to freedom. These are what we are going to learn from this lesson. Then, coming to how Deborah led the people of Israel to freedom, we are looking at Deborah as the contact point that brought about the freedom. At that time, when the people of Israel were sinful, they were unfaithful to God. Because of that, God turned his back on them and allowed their enemies to overpower them every time they are in battle. They were in great distress. Then God gave them leaders that led them. People like the leader like Cushan that led them out from the king, the Mesopotamian king Cushan, and also Ehud, who also gave them freedom in the hands of Moab, and they had freedom for 80 years. They also continued sinning in the sight of God. They worshipped other gods. God decided to give them in the hands of Jabin, the Canaanite king that ruled in the part of Hazor. They have been captured by Jabin, who has 100 iron chariots, and he ruled the people of Israel with cruelty and violence for 20 good years. And the people of Israel cried out to God. God heard their prayer and sent Deborah to rescue them. Deborah was a wife of Lapidot. She was a prophet, and she was serving as a judge in Israel at that time. She used to sit under a certain palm tree between Ramah and Bethel in the country of Ephraim. The people of Israel used to go there for decision. One day she sent for Barak, son of Ammon. The Lord God of Israel has given you this command. He was telling Barak to take 10,000 men from the tribe of Naphtali and Zebulun and lead them to a certain mountain. But Barak, being a fearful person, he could not understand the power of God. He told Deborah that he will not go unless Deborah goes with them. But Deborah told him that if at all she will go with him, that he should know that the God will give him give them victory, but it will not be on his credit. Rather, the credit will go to a woman. Then Deborah then asked Barak to go with those men, the 10,000 men, to the river Kishon. That is where God will we hand in Jabin, which is Sisera and his men, over to Barak. When Sisera heard that the people of Israel have encamped in Tabor, he took his 900 chariots and went to Tabor to fight them. Then Deborah said to Barak, "Today that the Lord will give you victory over Sisera." Well, I believe he did not understand that. But when Barak and his men approached the place where the people of Israel were camped, the Lord, doing his things his own way, who wants to save his people, and having seen the people that Sisera was coming with and how armed they were, knowing that the people of Israel cannot even kind of fight them. Compare 900 iron chariot soldiers to 10,000. Even though it supersedes, but their weapon was so great that the children of Israel cannot fight them without God's intervention. So because of that, God now threw confusion among the Sisera's soldiers. He brought confusion over them, and Barak attacked Sisera and his soldiers, and the Lord gave them victory. Barak was able to kill them all, and God gave them victory. So then Sisera himself, having, due to the power of God and the confusion he brought upon them, have seen that he has no option than to leave the battlefield, while Barak was after him to kill him. He took off. He ran away because he knows that his staying there will also amount to his death. He has no other option than to run for his life. But it doesn't end there. When he took off, he ran to a certain place in Kenite. In Kenite, there was the family of Heber, because Jabin was in good town with the family, and Heber has a wife called Joel. He was also a Kenite. Both of them were Kenites, and because of the peace between Jabin and Heber family, Sisera thought that he would be safe there. That made him to take off to the tent of Joel. Now, how then did Joel killed Sisera? That is the question. Because God have told Barak that the victory will be credited to a woman. When Sisera came to the tent belonging to Joel, she welcomed her very well, and even hid her in her tent. Sisera requested for water, but Joel gave him milk. After taking the milk, he was very, very tired, and he went into a deep sleep. He slept off. Joel now took a hammer and a tent peg, a very big hammer and a long tent peg, and drive the peg through the side of his head to the ground, and Sisera died. When Barak came looking for Sisera, Joel came out and showed him his corpse. On that very day, God gave the Israelites victory over Jabin. They rejoiced and praised God. What are the moral lessons that we have to learn from this lesson? We must learn to do things that will preserve the life of individuals as well as the society. We should understand that God can use both men and women for his work. He doesn't discriminate. He doesn't say this is a man. In the time of Moses, he used man. He's now using a woman. He decides who to use to achieve what he wants. We should also be thankful to God for our leaders, both the past and the present. We should always learn to give thanks to God, no matter how the situation is. With this, we come to the end of this lesson. I hope to see you again in the next class. Thank you for watching.